Case 1. The disappearance of Asha Degree, 2000, North Carolina. It was Valentine's Day, 2000, when 9-year-old Asha Degree disappeared into the dark. That stormy night, she quietly packed her backpack, left her family's home, and walked into the freezing rain, alone. Multiple witnesses saw her walking along Highway 18 around 4 a.m., carrying her bag as cars passed by. Hours later, she vanished into the shadows. A year later, her backpack was found buried in a wooded area miles away, still packed with her school supplies. No signs of struggle, no explanation. Why did a child leave her home in the dead of night? Was she running towards something or running away? 25 years later, Asha's face still stares from missing posters. Her mystery remains one of the most haunting disappearances in America. Asha vanished into the night, but 4 years later, another little girl would disappear from a place that should have been safe, a homeless shelter in the nation's capital. Case 2. The disappearance of Relisha Rudd, 2014, Washington, D.C. 8-year-old Relisha Rudd lived with her family in a D.C. homeless shelter. She was sweet, shy, and loved to draw. But in March 2014, she vanished not from the streets, but from inside the very place that was supposed to protect her. She was last seen with Khalil Tatum, a janitor at the shelter who had gained her mother's trust. When police searched for her, Tatum fled, and days later he was found dead by suicide. But Relisha, she was gone. To this day, no remains, no evidence, and no closure. Her disappearance revealed deep cracks in the system, one that failed to keep an 8-year-old girl safe. A child taken from a shelter, another taken from the streets. But in this next story, a baby's body was found, and her name would not be known for nearly 4 decades. Case 3. The murder of baby Jane Doe, Alisha Ann Heinrich, 1982, Mississippi. In December 1982, hunters near the Escatawpa River in Mississippi found a small body wrapped in debris, a toddler, barely 2 years old. She had no name. No one came forward. She was simply called Baby Jane Doe. For nearly 40 years, her identity remained a mystery until modern DNA testing finally gave her a name: Alisha Ann Heinrich. Alisha had gone missing with her mother, Gwendolyn Clemens, who was never found. Investigators believe both were murdered, but who did it and why remains unknown. One mother and one child, both gone, swallowed by time and silence. From one baby found in the woods to another child whose abduction would change how the entire world responds to missing kids. Case 4. The murder of Amber Hagerman, 1996, Texas. January 13th, 1996. 9-year-old Amber Hagerman was riding her pink bike near her grandparents' home in Arlington, Texas. In broad daylight, a black pickup truck pulled up. A man jumped out, grabbed her, and drove away. A neighbor witnessed the abduction and called police, but by the time they arrived, Amber was gone. 5 days later, her body was found in a creek bed. She had been murdered. Amber's death devastated her community, but it also inspired change. Her story led to the creation of the Amber Alert system, which has since saved thousands of children's lives. Her name lives on not just in grief, but in every alert that flashes across a phone or highway sign. Amber's tragedy sparked action, but decades earlier, 5 children vanished in a fire, and their parents were left wondering if they ever truly died. Case 5. The disappearance of the Sodder Children, 1945, West Virginia. It was Christmas Eve, 1945. The Sodder family's home was filled with laughter and warmth until fire consumed everything. When the flames died, George and Jenny Sodder searched desperately for their 5 missing children. But no remains were found, not a single bone. Experts said the fire wasn't hot enough to destroy human remains. Then strange things surfaced. A missing ladder, phone lines cut, a man seen watching the house days before. Years later, the Sodders received a photograph of a grown man claiming to be their missing son. But the truth, still unknown. The case of the Sodder Children is one of the most heartbreaking mysteries in American history, a Christmas night that never ended. 5 missing siblings, a fire with no remains, and then a single child whose murder shocked the entire world of pageantry and privilege. Case 6. The murder of John Benet Ramsey, 1996, Colorado. December 26, 1996. 6-year-old John Benet Ramsey, a beauty pageant princess, was found murdered in the basement of her family's home. A ransom note was discovered written with a pen and paper from inside the house. Theories exploded. Was it an intruder or someone within the family? The police mishandled evidence. The media sensationalized every lead, and the truth blurred under speculation. Nearly 30 years later, her murder remains unsolved, a story of innocence lost and justice denied. John Benet's death exposed the darkness inside a home. But our next case began on a busy city street when a little boy vanished and an entire nation woke up to fear. Case 7. The disappearance of Etan Patz, 1979, New York. On May 25, 1979, 6-year-old Etan Patz left his home in Manhattan for school and never arrived. It was the first time he'd walked to the bus stop alone. His disappearance became one of the most famous missing child cases in U.S. history. His photo was among the first ever printed on milk cartons. Decades later, a man confessed, Pedro Hernandez, but with no physical evidence, the case remains controversial. Etan's disappearance changed laws, raised awareness, and marked the beginning of National Missing Children's Day in his honor. Etan's case changed how we look for missing kids. But in Michigan, a killer was already hunting them one by one. Case 8. The Oakland County Child Killer, 1976, 1977, Michigan. Between 1976 and 1977, 4 children were abducted and murdered in Oakland County, Michigan. Each child was held for days, cleaned, dressed, and then left in public places. The press called him the babysitter killer. Despite massive investigations, multiple suspects, and endless theories, the killer was never found. The families still hold yearly vigils for Mark, Jill, Christine, and Timothy, the 4 innocent lives that never got justice. 4 children killed by a ghost no one could find. But before that, a boy's lifeless body was found inside a box, and for decades, even his name was a mystery. Case 9. The Boy in the Box, 1957, Pennsylvania. In a lonely patch of woods in 1957, a cardboard box lay discarded. Inside was the body of a young boy, bruised, malnourished, and wrapped in a blanket. Police took fingerprints, photos, and plaster casts of his tiny face. They called him America's Unknown Child. Only in 2022 did DNA testing reveal his name, Joseph Augustus Zarelli. But who killed him, and why, remains unanswered. For over 65 years, his small face haunted detectives, a symbol of innocence, lost and justice delayed. For one child, the truth was found too late, and for another, it's a mystery that still captures the entire world's attention. Case 10. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann, 2007, Portugal. Madeleine McCann was just 3 years old when she vanished from a seaside resort in Portugal in May 2007. Her parents had gone to dinner nearby, checking on her periodically, but when they returned, her bed was empty. The case became one of the most publicized disappearances in modern history. Despite countless leads, alleged sightings, and suspects, no trace of Madeleine has ever been found. Her story remains a haunting reminder of how quickly a moment of safety can turn into a lifetime of mystery.